Hello and good morning. Welcome to Matcha Mornings with Diane. I am your host, Diane. I am a dancer, performing artist based in New York City, and welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things mindfulness, life in New York as a performing artist, creativity, art, and everything in between. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Matcha Mornings with Diane. I'm your host, Diane, and today I am so excited to record this episode. I think these are just like three qualities or characteristics that I have observed in many creatives or just people in general who are just so magnetic and you're just so effortlessly drawn to them. And yeah, I have also just been making it a habit to try to embody these three things. And those three things are presence, radical self-acceptance and self-love, and generosity. Yeah, I cannot explain it, but this is something that I have definitely observed in dance classes, as a dancer. It's so important to be seen for who you truly are, to be just authentically you. And I think sometimes people miss that nowadays. I think, in this day and age with social media and everything just being posted online, some people just get so consumed and caught up with the idea of wanting to post something and wanting to be seen, which is not a totally bad thing, but I feel like sometimes because we want it so much that we obsess over the numbers and we obsess over being chosen that we just forget who we truly are in that process. And this is something that I am also trying to be more mindful of, especially when I take dance classes. I think that coming from a very technical background, the ballet world, where you're somewhat like put in a box, and there's nothing wrong again with structure. I feel like there still needs to be some sort of structure. But at the same time, as artists, we do have to remember that what makes people really want to see our art, is, like who we are beneath all of like the structure and the steps. Like, yes, the steps matter, but the steps don't mean anything. They don't move people when they can't even see the artist. And yeah, I know a big part of that is definitely a vulnerability thing, this visibility wound. A lot of people talk about it these days. And yeah, I think a lot of it is just like people unconsciously fearing being seen for who they truly are. And yeah, like these days too, like everything just seems a bit more performative, that it is tough to see people like who they truly are beyond like what they're doing. And so, yeah, I think these are just like the three things that I feel like is the trifecta of this whole idea of being magnetic and just, yeah, people being effortlessly drawn to you. I think that having presence is the most important part. There's just something so beautiful witnessing someone who is just in their own world and really just like loving what they do. That is something that I see in these dancers who are always like selected. I feel like, yes, like talent is a part of it, but talent is not, like the whole picture of it. There's just something about you know, like the dancers that we look up to, or even like creatives that we look up to, I think we can say that they're just like so present and they're just like so in their bodies that, you know, they can go on and on doing all of these things and not even caring whether someone's watching or not. Like, I think that is presence. Like, that's where the creativity really lives. And yeah, you're just so in the moment that you're not even thinking ahead or even like thinking about like past mistakes or whatnot. You're just like so in the moment and you're just so open. That's what presence gets you. It's like it allows you to be just in the moment and be open to all of the possibilities. And yeah, presence is really just such a big thing when it comes to, you know, creativity. I think it's something that you just cannot force. Like, creativity loves flow. And when you're present and when you're open-minded, that's when just all the magic, all the downloads just flow because you're not resisting anything. The other thing is like radical self-love and self-acceptance. This is definitely a lifelong journey, but yeah, I feel like the people who are truly confident love who they are in that very moment, and yeah, they accept themselves for who they are. They don't think that they have to fix themselves. They don't think they have to be a certain way in order to be liked. In fact, they probably don't even think about the idea of being liked. They just show up as they are, and they know like truly and deep down that that is more than enough. And they also just like have this belief that when they love themselves, when they are so unconditional towards themselves, they know that they will be attracting the right people and that they will be aligned to the right opportunities and whatnot. And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing is really just like radical self-love and self-acceptance. You know, as they say, like, self-love truly is the foundation of love. I cannot stress that enough because the relationship that you have with yourself, you know, it really just, it is reflected back to you no matter what you do in this life. And the other thing is generosity. I love the saying that I learned from this contemporary ballet company. If you guys are not familiar, Complexion's Contemporary Ballet. They're one of the most prestigious contemporary ballet companies in the world. And I remember attending their intensive, and something that they always say is, there's nothing to prove but everything to share. And I think that is really key when it comes to like sharing yourself to the world and sharing your art, your work to the world. Because when you're in approving energy, it just kind of dims your light. You just get caught up in this idea of like trying to prove something, trying to gain something externally, that you're just really not connected with who you are, and therefore you probably don't even know who you are. And yeah, other than that, generosity is just, it's so magnetic and it just makes you feel good. Not just as an artist, but even as the audience. I think people could tell, like, I mean, I could tell whenever I see someone dancing and, you know, when someone is talking on camera and posting a video online. You can just like see how much they want to share. And that is something that you cannot fake. That is something that you cannot fake. Like, they just genuinely want to share because something is just like really overflowing from their cups, and that's always like such a wonderful thing to see. And I think as artists too, we do realize that it is a privilege to be seen. It is a privilege to be able to share our work, our art, and to be able to share that perspective to the rest of the world. Because, yeah, I truly believe like being an artist, being a creative in general, a dancer, whatever art form you know, like share or work on, I truly believe that it really is a privilege, and it is not for the faint of the heart. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to put something out there, but more importantly, and if you're like me, there's just like a different level of fulfillment when you get to share something of yourself to the world. And I think the biggest thing and the most rewarding thing that an artist can feel is really being able to just like share something. And, you know, if it can touch even just like one person, that's more than enough. Because, yeah, that's what life and art is all about. Just like being able to connect, being able to share perspective. And yeah, it's all about just really connecting and telling stories. And yeah, if you really want people to see your art, a big part of it requires you to be generous. It really does. And yeah, for me, like even recording this right now, I'm just like reminded of like why I even started this podcast, and yeah, like why I even started dancing. I just really wanted to have an outlet of expression, and other than that, I just really want to be able to connect with people. Like it's all about really connecting and getting something across. And, you know, whatever form that may be, it truly, truly matters. Like generosity does matter. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, like these are the three things that I believe are qualities that a lot of artists can definitely embody more of. And I know for myself too, like these are three things that I am still learning how to embody. And yeah, just like finding things that make me feel like I am actually embodying these qualities. Like what are the things that make me present? Sometimes that's just, yeah, like sitting in front of the camera and recording a podcast episode. Sometimes that's also just like making my cup of matcha. That could also be having an improv session. And yeah, like even in class, you know, of course, like there's a structure in class when they teach choreo and whatnot. Of course, like you will have to think, but you know, once they give you the structure, you do remember that, you know, like when you're present, you do get to play around with that structure. And presence really just like requires you to show up as you are. And yeah, it just makes all of like the experiences fun and enjoyable. And I think that's what life is all about, right? Like we are meant to enjoy every moment, even the uncomfortable ones. You know, it may not feel like it's enjoyable in the moment, but there's just like something so what's the word? There's just like something so amazing, I guess. There's something so amazing, so beautiful, and so profound about learning to be present and not trying to change anything. And just like letting things flow and come to you. And of course, like it goes without saying, no matter what, like unconditional love, like radically love yourself and accept yourself for who you are, all that you are. No one is perfect, and I think sometimes perfection actually stunts our growth. It definitely, you know, it takes away like the amazing experiences that we can have in this life. And yeah, again, like I feel like striving for perfection sometimes it does like put you in this position where you almost fear you almost fear being seen, you fear trying new things. And so yeah, I think radical self-love and self-acceptance for who you are in the moment truly is important as an artist. It is part of your play, it is a part of your evolution, it is a part of your experimentation. And last but not the least, generosity. Yeah, there's nothing like art that just overflows, you know, and something that doesn't demand, but it commands. If you guys get what I mean, like those two things are different. And yeah, it's just so fulfilling and enriching when you come from a place of generosity, of just like wanting to genuinely share and not have to prove anything, because you know that no matter what, it is a privilege to be able to share a piece of yourself, a piece of your work, and to be able to connect with people. So yeah, those are my 3 things that I believe is the trifecta of magnetism, presence, radical self-love and acceptance, and generosity. I hope that you guys resonated with this episode. Let me know what you guys think. If this, made you question anything or at least reflect on something, let me know. Feel free to leave a comment down below or message me on my social media platforms. I would absolutely love to connect. I love diving deep into these kinds of conversations. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I wish you a lovely day. Cheers.